Hey folks, Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock Lake. It is Tuesday, April the 11th. Gosh, been on the water every day for the past 7 days. Seen a lot of changes, a lot of stuff moving, a lot of stuff going on right now. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are all the way up to 912.4 as of this morning. A little bit of rain has helped, and the Corps has not been running nearly as much water, so that's made a huge difference. Has brought the lake level up. We're still about 2.5 feet down from normal pool right now, another 2 feet down below summer pool, so hopefully get some rain, hold some of this water in the lake, and we'll get back up to normal pool. As far as our water temperature is concerned, we're up to around 61, 62 pretty much all over the lake. I've seen as warm as 66 in the past week. It just kind of depends on where you're at in the lake and how dirty the water is. If the water's dirty, you're gonna find warmer water and you're gonna find more fish on beds and more fish spawning. But they definitely fish in all three phases of the spawn. We've still got some pre-spawners out there. We've got a few that have gone ahead and finished up spawning, and there are fish on beds all over the lake. There are fish on beds. So if you guys are coming down, maybe you're thinking about fishing the lower end of the lake this week. Couple pretty good bites going on right now. You do have some fish on beds. You can see some fish mostly back into the creek arms and the spawning pockets. You'll see quite a few fish on beds right now. Most of them are males. Haven't seen a whole lot of females on there. They're not really locked on down here yet. I think by the weekend they probably will be. I don't see any weather that's going to move them off, and it really water's warmed up enough. I really think those fish will probably spawn tonight on the full moon or within the next day or so, so they will be locked on beds down here by the dam. By the weekend, I like to pitch a little jewel squirrel head with a finesse worm or a small tube, either a UV finesse worm or a UV tube in there when I'm trying to catch them off of beds. But I seriously, probably pretty good chance to catch some bed fish this weekend if you guys want to come down and do that. If you're not interested in fishing the beds, a lot of fish still coming on a Kitech 2.8 swim bait. Those are both pre-spawn and post-spawn fish. 2.8 sexy shad's been my best color. Basically put the boat in about 20-25 foot of water, rig that Kitech up on a jewel swim gem head, and count it down to about 10 feet, so you're going to count it down about 5 seconds, and then just bring it in with a moderate retrieve. Catching a lot of smallmouth doing that, a lot of spots doing that. I think those fish are probably post-spawn. Have caught a few decent largemouth doing that the last couple of days as well, and I think those largemouth are probably pre-spawn. If you don't have any wind, it's really calm, sunny like it is today, we did better either with a Ned rig or a jewel squirrel head, shaky head, matching that shaky head up with either a finesse worm, a speed craw, or a UV beaver. Same sort of bank, same sort of depth, hitting those points, the mouths of spawning pockets, some main lake points, mostly gravel mixed with a little bit of rock, and just working it slow along the bottom, keeping the boat in about 20-25 foot deep and kind of targeting that area between, I'd say between 8 and 15 foot depth was the best depth we had today. Had a pretty good day today. Caught some really nice smallmouth, a couple of decent Kentuckys, and starting to see some goggle eyes show up too. So if you guys are interested in catching goggle eye to eat, they are starting to move to the bank down here on the dam area as well. Go to the Kimberling City area. Same bites are going on. Really a strong bite on the Kitech right now. Caught a lot of fish on that yesterday. I was in the Kimberling City to Baxter area yesterday. We caught quite a few fish on the Kitech. Fat swing impact, 2.8, sexy shad was the best color. Rigged up on a swim gem, and again keeping the boat about 25 feet deep, throwing it towards the bank, giving it about a 5 count, and working it back fairly slowly to the boat. Most of those fish are suspended. They're either pre-spawners or post-spawners. Caught a lot of fish doing that yesterday. A lot of fish on a shaky head as well. A lot of fish on the jewel squirrel head, using the 1/4 ounce squirrel head. And yesterday we caught them more on the Zoom speed craw in watermelon candy than anything else. But we did catch a few with a finesse worm on there and a few with a UV beaver on there as well. Same sort of deal, keeping the boat in about 20 foot, throwing towards the bank, keying on those points around spawning pockets, or even some main lake points on some main lake spawning pockets. Catching a lot of fish doing that. Saw a lot of fish on beds in the Kimberling area yesterday, and some of them were pretty well locked on. We had a couple of them, they were one pitch wonders. You'd see the fish on the bed, you'd pitch a shaky head or a tube up to them, it hit the bottom and those fish would pick it up and swim off with it. Most of them are males. I think we saw one decent female on a bed, just because I don't think anybody's fishing for them. So the males are still guarding the nest, but they are getting pretty well locked down in the Kimberling City area. And then we caught quite a few around docks too, catching a lot of fish on a jewel spider jig around docks, pitching it into the shade of the docks, pitching it on the backside of the docks. A lot of those fish are pre-spawners moving up. Some of them are post-spawners that have backed off. The ones that are up on the walkway, I think those were mostly spawners. Just couldn't see the beds, just threw it into the shade and they'd pick it up and swim off with it. But throwing the Jewel 5/16 Pro Spider jig, Okeechobee Blue is the best color, matching that up with a Zoom Speed Craw as well. James River, a lot of things going on up the James right now. Real good bite up the James on a jig, catching a lot of fish on a Pro Spider jig, around boat docks, in those spawning pockets, on those points outside of spawning pockets, matching that 5/16 or 7/16 Jewel Pro Spider jig or finesse jig up with a Speed Craw, doing really well with that, working along the bottom. The fish seem to be a little bit shallower up there. Moss is a little bit more of a problem around the Ants Creek area, but you get above Camper's Point and it doesn't seem to be as bad. Get down a little closer to Kimberling and it doesn't seem to be as bad. But really in that Ants Creek area, the moss is pretty bad, so you got to work out a little bit deeper. Catching them on the Kitech up there as well, and on an underspin, catching them on a Spin-X. So a lot of fish, I think they've spawned up there. We did see some decent beds up there over the weekend though. Mostly males on them in the Ants Creek area, and a lot of males up in Woolly Creek. We saw quite a few males on beds up there. They didn't seem locked on, but that's been 2 or 3 days ago, so I imagine those fish are pretty well locked on as well. And then actually caught a few on a spinnerbait up there. War Eagle tandem spinnerbait, throwing it around brush and throwing it around laydowns and any wood that was in the water on a windy day. We did pretty well with a spinnerbait up there too. Go up into the White River, and a lot of fish up at the White River. Like I said yesterday, I was up around Baxter. Over the weekend I was Shell Knob all the way up to the Kings River, catching a lot of fish up there. The fish are definitely further along in the spawn up there. You can find some really warm water back in some of the creek arms and some of the pockets in the creeks. It's weird, you'll get back in a pocket and you'll find 65, 66, even 67 degree water back in the pocket. You get back out on the main channel of the creek and it'll only be 60 degrees. So make sure if you're wanting to target spawning fish, you get back into those pockets and target those fish. But yesterday did really good with the Jewel Squirrel Head, caught quite a few fish on it, using it again with a Zoom Speed Craw, UV Beaver, and a little bit with a UV Finesse Worm. Did well with the Ned rig up there as well, just working along the bottom. Most of these fish that we're catching along the bottom are going to be in that 10 to 15, 10 to 20 foot range, so you want to keep your boat about 20, 25 foot deep. Most of them on points, gravel mixed with rock, some of them back in the pockets. Like I said, there's a lot of fish on beds, so if you want to bed fish, the White River is a very good option. The water's actually pretty darn clear up there until you get back in those pockets, and then it'll have some color to it. Did really well over the weekend with the Kitech 2.8 Fat Impact. Quite a number of fish on that, on the Jewel Swim Gem 1/4 ounce. Actually Saturday, that's about the only thing we fished, and I think we had about 12 or 13 keepers doing that. And just a lot of short fish to go along with it. So a lot of fish. Again, these fish are suspended on the points, mostly main lake points. It seems like up there is where we caught the better fish on the Kitech. Throwing it towards the bank, keeping the boat at about 25 and just working it back to the boat fairly slowly, just a moderate retrieve, let it sink to about 10 feet and you'll catch a lot of fish doing that. And then the Jewel Spider jig around docks up there. Caught a lot of fish just pitching into dock stalls and pitching on the back sides, the shoreline side of the dock in those shady areas. There's a lot of fish. Caught them on a Jewel 5/16 and 7/16 Pro Spider jig. Matching that up with the Speed Craw. Just a dynamite combination up there right now. Guys, it is the middle of April and it's getting freaking beautiful down here, and the fish are biting like trained pigs. I mean, it's these last 6 or 7 trips I've had, we've caught a ton of fish and a ton of keepers, a lot of smallmouth, some good largemouth yesterday up the White, some really nice smallmouth on spots down here today. So really good fishing going on right now. If you guys are thinking about coming down, maybe you got a house down here and you're thinking about, I really want to learn how to fish the area in the new house I've got. Great idea. I do that with some people that have lake homes. Got a derby coming up. I know we got the Tyson coming up. We got some other tournaments coming up. And if you guys are needing the pre-fish for that tournament, want to get on a little bit, shorten that learning curve and find some fish a little bit faster, give me a call. We can do that for sure. I mean, we're coming up into May, which is probably my favorite month of the year to fish, and that's when we have those 50, 60, 100 fish days that you hear guys talk about. In May, everything's up on the bank. The smallmouth are up, the largemouth are up. We catch a ton of fish. It's just a great time to fish in May. So if you guys are thinking about coming down, maybe you want to book a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. Shoot me an email, book online, however you want to do it. We'll get back to you as soon as we can on that. But I really appreciate you guys watching the videos, subscribing to the videos. If you haven't subscribed, take a minute, go to the YouTube page, hit the subscribe button. You'll get notifications when the new videos come out. But I appreciate you watching. I can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.